Okay, this is just going to be some off the dome, real talk about anxiety and how I deal with it usually. Um, for anxiety, it kind of just like it's irrational a lot of times, and it's just kind of lurking in the background, and like you don't even know why it's there a lot of times, but you just live with it, and you wish you didn't have to live with it, but it's just always there and it doesn't like to leave. So over time, in my 21 years on this earth, I've came up with some ways to manage it. And it's still a work in progress. Like I still deal with anxiety today, but I have a lot more tools to actually deal with it now and live with it. So I'm just going to go over some of those. Some of the best ones that worked for me were constantly reminding myself things that kind of calm me down and just bring me back to the present moment. So this could be things as simple as making my phone backgrounds like reminders. So for example, one I really like is if you stress, you lose twice. Just a little reminder like that, a simple little reminder like that is sometimes enough to just bring me back to the present moment. Another example, like say if you're starting in a brand new job, like I was not too long ago, it was a really stressful time. So I just, I had a quote written and it just said, "You're being paid to do something that challenges you." And like basically just reminding you like this is growth, like that stress that you're feeling, like that's, the weight you got to lift to get stronger and to grow and all that. So just that's another little reminder. And then even something just as simple and then super profound, like we're not going to be here forever. So just having a reminder like that too kind of just puts it in perspective too and just makes you get present really quick. Another very important tip for managing anxiety and just like anything on your mind kind of that you're having trouble getting rid of is just giving it a physical form, meaning just like journaling. And I don't mean that you don't need to longhand it, like write it down in a physical journal. I mean like even just in your notes app, and you can lock the notes too. So like people don't have to see this shit. Like you can just write it down, anything that's on your mind or that you have to, give a physical form. It helps a lot because when you give that a physical form or whatever you're going through, it takes its power away because you've written it down, and then you can kind of have a conversation with yourself too, and then like kind of get to the bottom of what you're feeling, why you're feeling this way. Worst case scenario, if you're worrying about a possible like something happening and there's a lot of uncertainty in your mind, you can like kind of go through it, write it down a bit, and just see like, okay, is this something I really need to be worrying about? So even if you don't get to the bottom of it, like just writing it down and just kind of talking about it with yourself, it just takes its power away, and it just seems more like, okay, I can deal with this. Like this is okay. Another thing, I saw a podcast with Naval Ravikant. I think that's how you say his last name, but he's a really good guy to listen to. So, like he talks about this stuff. But a really good trick or way of thinking about anxiety that he said on a podcast was think of your mind like an email inbox, and think of a really anxious mind like an email inbox that has like a bunch of unread emails. So it's just email after email just piling up, and you haven't read them and you haven't gone through them. Like you're just pushing them further and further down, and you're not like dealing with them, you're just procrastinating them. And then think of a non-anxious mind as an email where all the emails are read and you fully examined yourself and all those emails, and you haven't pushed anything down. You're not like, nothing's eating away at you because you've dealt with all of it. You've examined all of it. Now, the way you read these emails is, I know you've heard it a million times in the past, but it is so true. Meditation. It's one of the most powerful things for dealing with anxiety. And I don't mean meditation like, being in a lotus position with your eyes closed and all that. Meditation doesn't need to be complicated like that. Meditation is simply the art of doing nothing. Just doing nothing and just sitting with your thoughts. You can do it spontaneously. You don't even need to carve out time. Just if something's eating away at you, or you feel that anxiety and you're like, damn, what is this? Why is it eating away at me or whatever? And you don't really know what it is. You know it isn't rational, but you just want it to go away. Even just taking a couple minutes, or even 5 minutes or something, and just sitting with it, just literally doing nothing. If you're doom scrolling on Instagram or something, you're not going to be doing nothing, quote unquote. You actually have to just put down the devices and just sit with it. Look at the wall, or just, if you want, you can close your eyes too. But yeah, literally just don't do anything super stimulating or whatever. Even just go for a walk. Going for a walk and just taking it in the nature, and it just gives your mind time to kind of reflect and just go through these emails a bit. But again, just sitting with the thought and just kind of letting it rise to the surface, out from all of the depths of your mind and everything. Just letting it rise up and just uncovering it, unpacking it, helps a lot. And then you can eventually come to a conclusion oh, okay, this isn't as big a deal as I thought, or as my mind was making it out to be. And then boom, that's an email read. And the more you do this, if you start making this a regular thing throughout your day or throughout the week or whatever, even just spontaneously, if you're a spontaneous person and you don't really like a routine or something, you can just do this whenever you need to, kind of thing. But the more you do this, and the more you naturally incorporate this into your day, over time you're going to be reading these emails, and eventually you're going to get to the bottom of it, and you're going to have no more emails in your inbox that are unread. And now obviously that's not going to be the case forever. More emails are going to come up, aka anxiety, and then you're going to at least what to do when they come up, and you can just deal with them, and you don't have to let them pile up on each other. Also, what I've found, what adds the most emails, unread emails to your inbox, is when you do things that go against your moral code. So first of all, you gotta have a moral code too, because that's if you do, at least you'll stand for something. And there's things in your mind that are right and wrong, and you're not just you're not like a feather that just blows in the wind. So that'll just give you more strength in your mind too. But then when you do things that sacrifice your moral code, that's going to add more emails to your inbox. So just think of it like that. You don't want to deal with more emails than you need to. And we're going to have to read these emails eventually. So just try not to give yourself more work than you need. When you do something that sacrifices your moral code, you're going to have to deal with it eventually down the line, okay? Because it's just another unread email that you're going to have to read eventually. So it's, a lot easier just to cut out the middleman and just don't do it. And finally, just to add to that point about, even just going for a walk, just getting out in nature, whether it's going for a walk around your neighborhood and just taking in everything, or going for a hike. Hiking is one of the best things you can do to deal with this. You can be so stressed about everything in your life, and it's eating away at you, and when you're on a hike, everything just goes out the window. You're not worrying about, you're still going to be worrying, but it just feels so much better. You just feel okay, yeah, I can deal with all this. Because a lot of times when you're just, if you're just, sitting in your house and stuff and dealing with it and just drowning in the anxiety, it's very easy to just be looking very closely at these problems and everything you're dealing with. But when you're on a hike or something like that, it's a lot easier to like zoom out and like look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, you know what? I don't need to be worrying about this stuff that much. Like, look at what's out here. Look at all this nature, all these trees and shit, and these mountains. Like, it's just an eye opener, kind of. But yeah, just getting out, some physical activity helps a lot. It also kind of gives you like a sense of confidence too. Like if you like go solo hiking or something, like that's like one of the best activities you can do as well, because I don't know, that's like, as humans, that's one of like our primal, like in our primal natures, like being able to navigate through the wilderness and stuff. So like if you can do that confidently solo and like find your way and everything, that's like going to give you another like form of confidence as well. Like same way that, you know, learning martial arts will give you confidence, because you'll know that you can defend yourself and you have the tools to. It's the same thing with hiking, like just knowing how to navigate through the wilderness and just having the physical like ability to do like a tough hike and everything like that too it'll help your confidence a lot, on top of the clearing your head. So if you're incorporating this again, like a lot more into your life, you know, even if you just do a hike like once every 2 weeks, or, you know, if you want, like, you know, on the weekends or something, just do a hike. Doesn't have to be a long one, but just something, or even just walking through nature. Like there might be like nice trails or something in your area. I'm not sure where you live, but if there is nice trails somewhere, or just like a nice scenic walk by the water or anywhere, give it a go, and you know, you might see you feel a little better by the end of it, or during it even. Those are the main things that have helped me so far dealing with anxiety at 21 years old. I have a lot of life left, and you know, I'm hoping I'll find some other ways to deal with it too. But as of now, this is what's helping me so far. Let me know in the comments what you guys do, if you do anything differently to deal with your anxiety. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Thanks for listening.